Let's talk about insulin resistance and just unpack what that means. When you eat any carbohydrates, remember your macros in food are carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. When you eat fat and protein, your body does not break that down into glucose. It breaks that down into fatty acids and amino acids, and those are absorbed without a transporter. When you eat carbohydrates, wheat, pizza, pasta, sweets, cakes, fizzy drinks, anything sweet or anything starchy, whether it's healthy or not, so whether it's a sweet potato or an apple strudel, the breakdown end product is still glucose. And this glucose will now enter your bloodstream, and a little transporter is required to load up that glucose and take it to the cells where it's needed, to your brain, to your kidneys, to the nerves in your toes. This transporter is called insulin. When you are overstimulating the need for insulin in the system, paired with abdominal girth and carrying extra weight, the little receptors on each cell wall that read the insulin message get overstimulated. And when you overstimulate any receptor in the body, so I always like to pose like this, and I'm the little receptor, and I'm being showered with insulin now. The little receptors look up and they are inundated and overwhelmed, and they say to themselves, something is up. We are being overstimulated. We need to hunker down. And so they down-regulate themselves and they shut down on the cell wall. Now what's happening up here with your transport insulin production? The message is not being read. So the pancreas, which is squeezing out insulin, is saying, hang on, no one's reading the message. We better make more. Make more, make more. And there's this kind of vicious cycle, broken telephone situation that goes on, where the cells are not reading the message, the sugar is staying in the blood and not getting to the places where it needs to go, and the insulin levels are getting higher and higher. Now, insulin is pro-inflammatory, it is pro-weight gain, it is almost a signal to your body that it must just hold on to whatever energy it can find and it can have. And so if you are a person who is in this vicious cycle and is really struggling to reduce the weight that you may have piled on or that you might be trying to lose, then fixing this insulin resistance is really integral to losing weight. And it's something that you can explore with your doctor by asking for a fasting insulin test and by looking at your sugars in a fasted state and in a state after eating. Now, insulin resistance or prediabetes progresses to a diabetic state. And type 2 diabetes is an enormous burden of disease all over the world. And the type 2 diabetes graphs are as steep as the obesity graphs, as steep as the autism graphs, as steep as the depression and anxiety graphs. And what all of these things have in common is that this person is metabolically unwell. They are not using their body in the way that it was designed to be used. They are cardiovascularly unfit. And as a consequence, they've got all these pro-inflammatory cytokines floating around their cardiovascular system and bathing their brain in a kind of inflammatory soup. And you can imagine putting your brain in an inflammatory soup is going to make you anxious, it's going to make you tired, and it's probably going to make you miserable.